Sunny then. Well, you've heard the slogan, sex sells, but does it really?
Remember Carl's Jr.? Well, they announced they're no longer going to have those sexy ads with the supermodels eating the burgers like these here.
I love Paris when it drizzles. I love Paris in the summer when it sizzles.
I'm such a neat freak.
When I'm all alone, after work is done,
Everything's gotta be clean,
I got a fever and inflammation, that's what I got. You turn the heat on me, so I'm like that.
What a burger now.
Well, remember, after all these different commercials, Carl's Jr., they became known for these kind of commercials for selling their burgers or some of their items. Well, they're now heading in a different direction, and the company has now released this new commercial.
When I started this company, it was about one thing: pioneering a new way to food. Daring food, cut no corners food for you, to eat with your mouth. Walk with me. Keep the bowl. We're keeping the bowl. Then I passed it to the boy. He sowed his wild oats as a young man is wont to do, and well, he got a little hoo-hum. 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 Distracted.
Yeah, things got real weird.
I no longer want a burger.
So now, yeah, it is a little weird now because you're used to seeing these ads from Carl Jr., but we have our marketing expert, David Neff, here to give your take on this.
Hey,
we
David.
thought sex sells. Doesn't anymore?
It does, but you have to be a lot more careful than in the past. It's more of a slippery slope. There's a lot of different constituent groups out there that you need to appeal to, and you don't want to turn off any of your target audience. So I think if you have nothing else to sell and you have to resort to sex, then it can be effective.
You have to have a product to support it. Over the years, it's been the same thing, sex, sex, sex. Have we become desensitized?
To a certain extent, I think we have. But the whole concept with sex selling, another interesting point today is how social media comes into play and how this can blow up and become viral and reach millions of people. I mean, we're talking about Carl's Jr.'s right now. So this is a prime example of how a message and a controversial angle can bring to light a brand.
Because you almost get content on demand when it comes to advertising, and on social media, you can push the envelope a little bit more than you can on traditional television.
No doubt.
So do you think this will be a trend now, that other companies are going to be like, hey, maybe we shouldn't do this sexy, racy stuff and just kind of think of something else?
That's a great question. What it really comes down to is there's certain brands that are distinctive and have great selling points, like Carl's Jr.'s, for example. They didn't need to resort to using sex to sell their product. They were the first company with a grass-fed burger to charbroil burgers, and they have a great heritage for their brand. So they have all the components that advertising experts are looking for in order to create a really distinctive, memorable spot that's about their brand and their product.
Okay.
I wonder if it's shifted in a way, because remember back in the day, I mean, let's just take, beer advertisement commercials, and we saw the same typical, lady, da-da-da. But now we're seeing kind of a shift more toward women. We saw that with Mr. Clean this year, and where it's a little more sexual.
People love the Mr. Clean one.
Do we
They got
see a
lot of
shift maybe a little away from men toward women in advertising?
I think Mr. Clean is a great example of using sex to sell, but doing it in a highly distinctive way that's true to the brand and brings Mr. Clean, because Mr. Clean is the brand, brings that to light in a very charming way that really appealed to everyone.
Do you know of one or have an instance where a commercial, they tried to use it and it just did not work? It didn't go over well.
I personally have never had that specific experience.
Okay.
But
I mean, with companies that you've seen as far as commercials.
yeah, I think all the time, good marketing and good branding is all about testing. So a good marketer, they're going to pull the plug on something after they see that it's not really gaining traction.
And gender identity plays a big factor now. I mean, we're no longer just targeting to men, just targeting to women.
No doubt.
I'm sure companies have that on the back of their mind, gender identity.
For sure.
Okay. David Neff, always good to see you, my friend.
Thank you.
Thanks for having me. Great to see you guys.